Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today's Friday, April 15th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Major League Baseball and NHL games, look ahead to tonight and the weekend's games. Same for the MLS, we'll look ahead to the weekend's games. NBA play-ins, I'll do the picks, and then we're going to pick every first-round series, including some betting picks for the weekend. Golf, I will go over the current leaderboard at the RBC Heritage. NHL Power Rankings. We'll preview Sunday's episode of American Idol, news and notes, and best bet. We're going to start with baseball. We'll go over the games from last night, look ahead to the weekend. We're not going to go in depth, just going to do results and look ahead to the weekend. A's over the Rays 6-3, Mariners over the White Sox 5-1, Brewers over the Cardinals 5-1, Pirates over the Nats 9-4, Marlins over the Phils 4-3, Yanks over the Blue Jays 3-0, Rangers over the Angels 10-5, Pods over the Braves 12-1. Tigers over the Royals 4-2, Cubs over the Rocks 5-2, and the Dodgers over the Reds 9-3. Today's games, 1 o'clock, the home opener for the Mets as they take on the Diamondbacks, Zach Davies and Chris Bassett. So Chris Bassett starts the home opener, which is pretty cool. You would assume the Mets are pretty big favorites here. Minus 240, D-backs plus 198, over under 8.5, minus 210 each way. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 108. Mets minus 1.5 is minus 118. Tough one. I'm going to go with the over. I think that there will be a lot of runs in this game. I don't like the D-backs bullpen all that much. So I'm going to go with over 8.5. 2 o'clock, Twins Red Sox. So the Red Sox home opener from Fenway, Joe Ryan and Nick Pivetta. Red Sox minus 126, Twins plus 108, over under 10, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Twins plus 1.5 is minus 188, Red Sox minus 1.5 is plus 155. This is a tough one. I'm going to go first half result, Minnesota Twins plus 125. I was just going to pick them to win the game outright. But I don't know if I trust their bullpen against the Sox offense and the Sox home opener, so I'm going to go with the Twins plus 125 first half. 6:30, Nats Pirates, Eric Feed and Mitch Keller. Pittsburgh minus 116, Nats minus 102, over under 9, overs minus 114, unders minus 106. Nats minus 1.5 is plus 146, Pirates plus 1.5 is minus 178. I'm going to go with the over. I think that's a no-brainer. Phillies Marlins, Zach Eflin and Pablo Lopez. Marlins minus 126, Phillies plus 108, over under 7.5, minus 170 each way. Phillies plus 1.5 is minus 220. Marlins minus 1.5 is plus 180. I'm going to go first half result, Miami Marlins, even money. 7 o'clock, Yankees Orioles from Camden Yards. So the first road game for the Yankees this year. Jordan Montgomery against Jordan Lyles. Yanks minus 210, Orioles plus 176, over under 9, overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Yanks minus 1.5 is plus or minus 125, Orioles plus 1.5 is minus 104. Oof. This is a hard one. I'm going to go with the under because the Yankee offense low-key hasn't been so great. But watch, they're going to shove it in my face and put up 10 runs against the Orioles tonight. Just watch. But Jordan Montgomery, despite that Red Sox start, he's good. I like him against the Orioles. So I'm going to go under minus 102. Maybe the Yankees win like 7-1 or something like that. A's Blue Jays, Dalton Jeffries and Ross Stripling. Jays minus 198, A's plus 164, over under 9.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. A's plus 1.5 is minus 125, Blue Jays minus 1.5 is plus 104. Big spot for Toronto. Back at home. I'm going to go with the over. Giants Guardians, Carlos Rodon and Zach Plesac. Giants minus 154, Guardians plus 130, over under 8, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Giants minus 1.5 is plus 110. Guardians plus 1.5 is minus 132. I love the Guardians plus 130. Love them. Stephen Kwan's playing really well. I love the Guardians. Apple TV Plus, Rays White Sox. Drew Rasmussen and Dylan Cease. White Sox minus 138, Rays plus 118, over under 8, minus 110 each way. Rays plus 1.5 is minus 188, White Sox minus 1.5 is plus 155. Tough one. This is probably like an opener situation for Tampa. To make things a little easier, I'm going to go first half result, White Sox, even money. 8 o'clock, Angels, Rangers. Reed Detmers and Matt Busch. Angels minus 116, Rangers minus 102, over under 10, minus 110 each way. Angels minus 1.5 is plus 146, Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 176. I'm going to lay the juice with the Angels at minus 116. They should be a bigger favorite than that. Tigers, Royals. Tariq Skubal and Brad Keller. Royals minus 134, Tigers plus 114, over under 8.5. Overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 192. Royals minus 1.5 is plus 158. I'm going to go first half tie for this one. Tariq Skubal isn't as bad as he showed opening day. And I don't really think Brad Keller is as good as he showed on opening day. I'm trying to get... Here we go. First half result tie 5-1. I like that, especially in a division game. Cardinals, Brewers. Miles Mikolas and Freddie Peralta. Brewers minus 162, Cardinals plus 136, over under 8.5. Overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Cards plus 1.5 is minus 160. Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 132. I'm going to go with the same play as I did the last time. First half result tie 5-1. 8:30, Cubs, Rockies. Marcus Stroman and German Marquez. Rocks minus 126, Cubs plus 108, over under 10. Overs minus 108, unders minus 112. Cubs plus 1.5 is minus 194. Rocks minus 1.5 is plus 160. I'm going to go with the under, slight under for the play. Marquez pitched great in his last time. So did Marcus Stroman, so I like the under. Just recency bias here. 9:30, Braves, Padres. Kyle Wright and Mackenzie Gore. Gore making his big league debut. So exciting. Gore and the Padres minus 120. Braves are plus 102, over under 8.5. Overs minus 106, unders minus 114. Braves plus 1.5 is minus 225. Padres minus 1.5 at plus 184. I'm going to go with the Braves and Kyle Wright, plus 102. Mackenzie Gore's first start. You don't know what to expect. So, I really like the Braves at plus 102. Next up, a big one, 9:45, Astros, Mariners. Huge one from Seattle. Jake Odorizzi, Marco Gonzalez. Astros minus 118, Mariners even money, over under 8.5. Overs minus 108, unders minus 112. Astros minus 1.5 is plus 128. Mariners plus 1.5 is minus 154. I'm going Seattle. I don't think Jake Odorizzi is very good. Marco Gonzalez just got roughed up. Seattle, prove it series, so I'm going to take them on the money line to win outright against Houston tonight. And last but not least, Apple TV Plus, Reds, Dodgers at 10 o'clock. Vlad Gutierrez and Tony Gonsolin. Dodgers minus 260, Braves Reds plus 215, over under 9. Overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Reds plus 1.5 is plus 108. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 130. Different play. I'm going to go Reds first half money line plus 190, only because I don't think Vlad Gutierrez was as bad as he showed his first start. So I'm going to go with the Reds in the first half here. Saturday, 1 o'clock, D-backs, Mets. Zach Gallen, Carlos Carrasco. 2 o'clock, Rays, White Sox. Corey Kluber, Michael Kopech. 3 o'clock, Ace, Blue Jays. Paul Blackburn and Hyunjin Ryu. Fox Sports 1 at 4 o'clock, Braves, Padres. Ian Anderson and Nick Martinez. Tigers, Royals, Matt Manning, Chris Bubick. Twins, Red Sox, Sonny Gray, Tanner Houck. Phil's, Marlins at 6 o'clock. Rangers, Suarez, Trevor Rogers. Guardians, Giants. Or I should say Giants at the Guardians. Anthony DeSclafani and Cal Quantrill. 6:30, Nats, Pirates. Josh Rogers and Bryce Wilson. I just realized this is Josh Bell's return home series. Angels, Rangers. Noah Syndergaard, Taylor Hearn. Yankees, Orioles. Jamison Tyone and Tyler Wells. Cards Brewers. Steven Matz and Adrian Hauser. 8 o'clock, Cubs Rockies. We don't know who's going for the Cubs, and Antonio Senzatello is going for Colorado. 9 o'clock, Astros Mariners. Justin Verlander and Chris Flexen. And 10 o'clock, Reds Dodgers. Hunter Green and Julio Urias. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Yankees Orioles. Nestor Cortez and Bruce Zimmerman. Twins Red Sox, Bailey Ober, Michael Wacha. Nats Pirates at 1:30, Patrick Corbin, Jose Quintana. A's Blue Jays, Adam Oller and Alec Manoah. D-backs Mets, Caleb Smith and we know is going for the Mets. Phil's Marlins, Zach Wheeler, Alicia Hernandez. Giants Guardians, Alex Wood and Aaron Savali. 2 o'clock, Tigers Royals, Tyler Alexander and Carlos Hernandez. Cardinals Brewers, Dakota Hudson and Aaron Ashby. Rays White Sox, Tampa we don't know, and Vince Velasquez is going for Chicago. 2:30 Angels Rangers, Jose Suarez, Martin Perez. Cubs Rockies at 3 o'clock, Drew Smyly, Austin Gomber. 4 o'clock Reds Dodgers, Tyler Mahle, Andrew Heaney. Astros Mariners, Jose Urquidy and Matt Barch. And Sunday Night Baseball, Braves Padres, Bryce Edler and Yu Darvish. Big spot for Yu Darvish. Everyone's going to be watching. Well, I don't know if everyone's going to be watching because there's the NBA playoffs on, but some people will be watching. People are going to flip into this game when it's halftime of whatever the Sunday night NBA game is that's being played. People are going to be flipping into this game, and it's a big spot for Yu Darvish. So, kind of a big spot for the Padres, too, obviously. All right, NHL, we'll look back on yesterday's results and look ahead to tonight and the weekend's games. Some big playoff implications coming your way this weekend and came to you last night. Sens over the Bruins 3-2. Blues over the Sabres 6-2. Maple Leafs over the Capitals 7-3. Lightning over the Ducks 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Anthony Cirelli. Pens over the Isles 6-3. Red Wings over the Canes 3-0. Oilers over the Preds 4-0. Wild over the Stars 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Frederick Gaudreau. Blackhawks over the Sharks 5-4 in a shootout in what I believe was Pat Foley's final home game as the Blackhawks play-by-play announcer. Yes. It was Pat Foley's finale. That's really sad. But good thing they won in that game for him. Avs over the Devils 3-1. Golden Knights over the Flames 6-1. And the Canucks over the Coyotes 7-1. Now we look ahead to the weekend. And tonight, obviously. So, only 2 games tonight. 7 o'clock, you have the Islanders and the Canadiens. No implications for this game. The Islanders are mathematically still in it, weirdly enough. They're minus 154. Montreal plus 128. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 124. Unders plus 102. Isles minus 1.5 is plus 176. Montreal plus 1.5 is minus 215. I'm going to go Islanders in regulation at plus 105. And then the NHL Network game is Jets Panthers. Winnipeg's still in it. Panthers obviously going for the President's Trophy. They're minus 280. Jets are plus 225. Over under 7. Overs even money. Unders minus 122. Jets plus 1.5 is minus 114. Florida minus 1.5 is minus 105. I'm going to go with the Jets on the puck line plus 1.5 and minus 114 only because Winnipeg's still in it and they'll play hard. All right, Saturday. Not all the lines are up for Saturday. I'm just going to go through the slate. 12:30 NHL Network, Penguins, Bruins, Red Wings, Rangers, Blackhawks, Preds. 3 o'clock, ABC, Wild, Blues. That's a huge one. 4 o'clock, Golden Knights, Oilers. That's another big one. 7 o'clock, Flyers, Sabres. That's a meaningless one. Capitals, Canadiens. Caps need that game. NHL Network, Maple Leafs, Senators. Leafs need the game. They're not a guarantee for second in that division. Jets, Lightning. Jets playing for their playoff lives. 8 o'clock, Sharks, Stars. Stars playing for their playoff lives. 9 o'clock, Hurricanes, Avalanche. Maybe the Cup final preview. Canes need the game to win the division. The Avs need the game for the President's Trophy purposes. 10 o'clock, Coyotes, Flames. Flames need to hang on in that division. Devils, Kraken, meaningless game. And then 10:30, Blue Jackets, Kings. Kings need the game to help clinch the playoff spot. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Panthers, Red Wings on ESPN. 5 o'clock, Sabres, Flyers. 6 o'clock, Blues, Preds. That's a big one, too. Sharks, Wild at 6. Also, 7:30, the Islanders at the Maple Leafs. So, John Tavares against his former team. And 8:30, you have the Blue Jackets against the Ducks. All right, now we'll move on to Major League Soccer. We're going to do it early in the show today because I just want NBA to be by itself, to have its own little spotlight. So, Major League Soccer weekend. We're not going to do betting picks because we don't have time. We'll just go through the window. 3 o'clock, Club Football Montreal, Vancouver. 3:30, San Jose, Nashville. 6 o'clock, Atlanta, Cincinnati. Houston, Portland, Red Bulls, Dallas, Columbus, Orlando, DC United. Austin at 7:30. New England, Charlotte. Toronto, Philly. 8 o'clock, Chicago, Galaxy. Minnesota, Colorado. 10 o'clock, Seattle, Miami. Sunday, 1 o'clock, you have NYCFC hosting Salt Lake. And 4 o'clock on ESPN, you have LAFC in Kansas City. Alrighty, NBA time. We have the play-in finals tonight. It's going to be really fun. The East game will be first. And your first game tonight is the Hawks at the Cavaliers. We don't know the statuses of some players. Jared Allen looks like he's going to go. John Collins out. My projections, Cavaliers by 4, total 232 and 17/20. And it is Hawks 2.5, total 222.5. I love the over more than I love the Cavaliers. I don't love the Cavaliers pick, but my numbers say Cavaliers. But the reason why I don't want to pull the trigger on Cleveland is because of Jared Allen. And this line right here is banking on Jared Allen not playing. If I took away Jared Allen from this game, I'd make it Cavs by only a half. So I'm going to go with the over in this game. And at 10 o'clock on ESPN, you have the Pelicans and the Clippers. My projection is the Clippers by 5.5, total 226. And 13/20. And it is 3.5 and 216.5. I love the over in this one too. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game than people think. And I think Paul George will have a big game. I'll do Clips and over as the same game, just like the Cavs one, but I like both overs better than I do sides. But if I had to guess straight up, I hate to say the Cavaliers. Then I'm definitely going to say the Clippers, but God. I don't want the Cavaliers to win because I think it's better for the NBA that the Hawks win. But I'd be happy for the Cavs if they got in, though. Cavs Heat's the LeBron Bowl, and then Heat Hawks. I mean, I'm sorry. The Hawks have a better shot than the Cavs against the Heat, only because the Hawks have the experience. They have Trae Young. And Cavs Heat's the LeBron Bowl. That's what's funny about that. So I'm going to say I don't feel good about it, but Cavaliers and Clippers tonight, both home teams. All right, and now I'm going to do my series picks and picks for the weekend. All right, so just going to go around the bracket. Cavs Heat, if it's the Cavs, I'm going to say that the Heat sweep the Cavs. They're just way better than the Cavs. They're not healthy. The Cavs, I think, are potentially this year's version of the Knicks, and then they'll take a major step back next year. There's two candidates for this year's Knicks. The other one, it's obvious, but we're going to get to them. And then if it's the Hawks, I'm going to say Heat in 6, only because of the Trae Young factor and the fact that they were in the playoffs last year. So if it's the Hawks, Heat in 6, and if it's the Cavs, it's a sweep. Nets Celtics is your 2-7. I think that Robert Williams will come back in the series. And I think there's a possibility that Ben Simmons comes back in the series, which would bode well for the Brooklyn Nets. With the potential of both guys coming back, I'm going to stick with my gut and say Celtics in 6. Kevin Durant's going to get his 40 points. The Celtics are just a better team than the Nets. The Nets are a two-man team, and if Ben Simmons comes back, I don't think he's going to have that big of an impact. So, and I believe that the Robert Williams thing coming back is real. And if he's not totally back, then my pick could look bad. So I'm going to go Celtics in 6 games. And then I'm going to go to FanDuel and see if they have the scores. Yeah, correct score. Boston Celtics 4-2 is my pick. So that's plus 550. Your 3-6 in the East is Bucks Bulls. I think the Bucks are the team to beat in the East. They're in the finals a year ago. They're the best player in Giannis, although he's not going to be the MVP this year. But he's the best player in the NBA as far as I'm concerned. I think that the Bulls are the other candidate that could be this year's Knicks because of the great start they had. And then the player with the career that is DeRozan. DeRozan could be this year's Randall. So, I'm going to say the Bucks sweep the Bulls. They don't have Lonzo Ball, which is bad. I think Lonzo is a big part of their success. And I'm going to go Bucks 4-0. That's plus 230. And then their 4-5 is Toronto, Philly. Everyone's darling is Toronto. Everybody's darling. People are penciling them into the second round already. Not so fast, my friends. The MVP of the season should be Joel Embiid. Who's guarding Joel Embiid on the Raptors? James Harden might have some few shit games that I don't think that might matter. And James Harden does have to be James Harden if the Sixers want to win a championship this year. And let alone probably get by the Raptors too. But I think that because in a way there's real, it might be called fake pressure, you know? It might be fake pressure on the Sixers because everybody and their brothers rooting for the Raptors and picking the Raptors. I'm going to go Philly in 6. That is plus 470. I do think Toronto will win a couple games. Toronto's a good team. I love the Raptors. I just think this is the wrong matchup for them. Because I just don't see how they stop Joel Embiid. Tyrese Maxey's made a huge jump this year. I think James Harden might have some crap games, but he might also have some great games. I think he's the big wild card here. And yes, Toronto's the coaching advantage with Nick Nurse. But there's Nick Nurse Lakers rumors. Is that going to affect the team? Maybe. But if Toronto re-signed Kyle Lowry, maybe I would have picked the Raptors. Because he's a big game guy and he knows what it takes. Scotty Barnes has never played in a big game in his life. Especially on the, at least in the NBA level. Siakam, great turnaround in the second half. He should be on an All-NBA team this year. All due respect to Toronto, I think they've had a great year. But I think it's Philly's time. So I'm going to say Philly in 6 at plus 470. To the West. Let's assume it's the Clippers. And then we'll do what if it's the Pelicans too. If it's the Clippers against the Suns, the subplot here is that Chris Paul's playing against his former team. Chris Paul's going to have a big chip on his shoulder in the first round, whether it's the Clippers or the Pelicans, because he played for both those franchises. I think that DeAndre Ayton will be impactful in this series, regardless who they play. More so the Clippers than the Pelicans, I think. But I think the Clippers match up better for him, but I could be wrong. I think Mikal Bridges won't be afraid. This team has the experience from last year from being in the finals. I think that's really going to help them throughout the playoffs. And I really think that's what motivated them this season to be the juggernaut they are. If they play the Clippers, I'm going to pick the Suns in 5. But I'm scared because what if Kawhi Leonard returns? Then they're in trouble. Against the Pelicans, the Pels, I do think McCollum and the jump he's made since the trade, I think he can go toe-to-toe with Booker and Paul, potentially. But I think that, and McCollum has played in some big games with the Blazers. Don't forget that. He has the experience. But Zion ain't walking through that door. The Duke Zion I'm talking about, not the Zion that people are saying that he gained weight, yada yada. The Duke Zion ain't walking through that door. The Suns are going to meet the Pelicans. But I'm going to also say 5 games. I'm going to give the Pelicans a win because of how well they played down the stretch. And I do think McCollum and Ingram can outscore Booker and Paul in a home game. And the crowd's going to be motivated. So give 1 game to the Pelicans. Zion or not. Suns in 5. Suns in 5 either way. If regardless who they play, I think it's going to be Suns in 5. Unless if Kawhi comes back, then I would say maybe 6 or 7 for the Suns. All right, next up is your 2-7, which is the Timberwolves against the Grizzlies. 2 up-and-coming teams. I really think that John Morant has played his way into superstardom this year. Karl-Anthony Towns has had the best year of his career, but he had a terrible playing game, and they won in spite of him. Now everyone's saying, Ewing theory, but not ready to go there yet. I think that was just aberrational. Anthony Edwards had a great playing game. I think that D'Angelo Russell's had a good year. I think that Jared Vanderbilt has improved as a player. And their coach this year has done a phenomenal job. Chris Finch, who got a contract extension, well-deserved. But I just think Memphis is so much better. They're the best player in the series in John Morant. And I think he's going to be ready to go. Jared Jackson Jr., great defensive player. They have some three-point shooting that I like. So I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies let's give Minnesota a home game. I kind of think Memphis in 5 plus 260. And then your 3-6 in the West is the Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. That's your 3-6. This is, I think, going to be secretly the best series of the first round. Everyone points to Boston, Brooklyn, which is great too. But I think that could be a little bit of a disappointment if that doesn't go 7 games. I think that there's a distinct possibility this goes 7 games. Steph Curry's coming back, and I think he's going to be back and better than ever. Jokic wants to prove to everybody that he's the real MVP here and that he could be the best player in the series. But what concerns me about Denver is they don't have Murray and Porter back, and they're not getting them back. And that's the case for this game, the series not going 7. The case for it to go 7 is that Jokic puts the team on his back for a couple of games, and then you have that random game where Will Barton gets hot from 3. Or Aaron Gordon gets hot from 3. Or something like that. Denver's not that bad of a team. They're going to be really good next year. And I love Jokic, and Denver is a joy to watch. I'm going to go Golden State in 7, plus 350 for the pick. I just think that Jokic will carry Denver to a bunch of wins in the series, and I'm not 100% convinced that Steph's 100%, and it's going to take him a couple games to get going. So I'm going to go Golden State in 7. And then your 4-5, the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz. This is kind of sad because Luka Doncic is missing game 1, and he might miss game 2 as well. And he might be back for game 3 when they're down 0-2, and the Jazz fans are going to be going crazy and whatnot. This is the toughest one. I'm going to say Luka's back for game 3. The Jazz will be up 2-0, potentially. And they're going to be going back to Utah. Crowd's going nuts. This is Luka's time to shine. He's going to be the perennial MVP favorite going forward, or one of the favorites, along with Jokic, Embiid, and Giannis. Those 4 players are the best 4 players in the NBA right now, along with Kevin Durant. That's your top 5. I'm going to go with Dallas in 7. Do I feel good about it? No. But that's going to be the pick. At 5-1, assuming that Luka will be back at some point in the series. And then the Jazz are going to Jazz. And then you're going to be hearing rumors about Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Quinn Snyder out the door. So I'm going to go with Dallas in 7, 5-1. I'm going to take them at the series price for plus 245, assuming this is the Luka Doncic coming back price for that one. All right, and now we're going to do the picks for the games this weekend. So Saturday, 1 o'clock ESPN, Jazz Mavericks. I project the Jazz by 3, total 224 and a fifth. And it's 4.5 and 209.5. Over. Luka or not, I think that Donovan Mitchell's going to have a big game 1. I like the over. Jazz money line, the over would be fun. 3:30 on ESPN, Timberwolves Grizzlies game 1. My projection is Grizzlies 7 3/4, total 240. And it's 7 and 235. I like the over here too. Both these teams have been over teams. They're the best 2 offenses in the NBA. I like the over. 6 o'clock on ESPN, the Raptors and the 76ers. My projection is Philly by 4.5, total 229, and it's 4 and 216. Another over I absolutely love. I know these 2 teams have defensive identities in a way, but I think that they're going to blow right over that. And on Saturday primetime, 8:30 on ABC, you got the Nuggets and the Warriors. Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy, Lisa Salters. My projection is Golden State by 5.5, assuming Steph's back. Total 220 or 233 and 7/20, and it's 6 and 223. I love the over. Steph's back. Jokic is gonna go crazy. 4 overs will be the picks. And then Sunday, 1 o'clock on TNT. The Hawks-Cavs winner against the Heat. I have the Heat by 7.5 against the Cavs, and it would have been 7.5 against the Hawks too, but no John Collins. I have to bump that to 8.5. We don't have a line for that game yet. 3:30 ABC Nets Celtics. Will this also be Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, and Jeff Van Gundy? I have a feeling this is actually going to be their game. And maybe they'll be in Philly for that game 1. Or maybe they have an overnight red-eye shift or flight. I almost said shift. Overnight flight into Boston. My projection for this game, Boston 4.25, total 236. And it's Boston by 4, total 224. I like the over. Durant, Tatum, stars abound. And 6:30 on TNT of the Bulls and the Bucks. My projection is the Bucks by 7, total 238 and 4/5. And it's 10 and 220.5. A bunch of overs will be the play. So I have to really do some adjusting here for the game 2s if the overs don't come into fruition here. And then, last but not least, 9 o'clock on TNT, you have the Pelicans-Clippers winner against the Suns. Against the Pelicans, I have 16. Against the Clippers, I have 13.5. We'll see which one it's going to be. All right, now I'm going to go over the current leaderboard for the RBC Heritage Classic. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a big NBA podcast. That's why I wanted to just shove it in the middle. Your leader right now with a score of 8 under is Cam Young. Tied for second with 6 under. You have Patton Kazir, Joakim Neiman, and Chad Ramey. Tied for 5th with 5 under. Mito Pereira, Corey Connors, Green McDowell, Patrick Cantlay, Shane Lowry, Cam Triangle, Harold Varner III, Matthias Schwab, Seb Straka, Joakim Herman. Tied for 15th with 4 under. Tyrell Hatton, Dylan McCarthy, Aaron Weiss, Camilo Vegas, JT Pazin, and Evan Royan. Tied for 21st with 3 under. Pretty big group. Roger Sloan, Charles Schwartzel, Pat Perez, Lucas Glover, Tyler Duncan, Ryan Henley, Robert Streb, Ian Poulter, Sam Piercy, Stuart Sink, and Adam Svebson. Tied for 32nd with 2 under. This is the really big tie. Now I'm just going to go through notables only because of time. Henry Higgs, James Hahn, Taiwo Kim, Joel Dahman, Hudson Swafford, Brett Horschel, Kevin Kisner, Jordan Spieth, Adam Long, Doc Redman, Joseph Brumlett, Colin Mariko, Webb Simpson, Sanjay Im, Matt Kuchar, Matthew Neesmith, Troy Merritt. Tied for 56 with 1 under. A bunch. Doug Gibb, Emiliano Grillo, Adam Putnam, Kevin Na, Jason Kokrak, Lucas Donald, Justin Thomas, Alex Loren, Maverick McNeely, Wyndham Clark, Brendan Todd, Dylan Fratelli, Adam Hadwin. Tied for 73rd at even. Sam Ryder, Kramer Hickok, JJ Spawn, Carlos Ortiz, Brandon Grace, Henrik Stetson, Daniel Berger, Ben Martin, Nate Taylor, Brian Harmon. Tied for 90th with 1 over. Kevin Streelman, Adam Schenk, Russell Noss, Chris Kirk, Chasen Hadley, Alex Smalley, Tommy Fleetwood, Bryce Garnett, Cam Smith, Mariano Gillick. Tied for 103rd with 2 over. Richie Wierenski, Henrik Norlander, Lucas Griffin, Dustin Johnson. Tied for 113 with 3 over. Nate Watney, Matt Fitzpatrick. Tied for 119th with 4 over. Brent Snecker, Scott Stallings. Tied for 125th with 5 over. Ricky Fowler. And 129th with 7 over. Chesner V. And Zach Johnson withdrew. All right, NASCAR this weekend. They'll be racing from Bristol. We just have Truck and Cup this weekend. No Xfinity. So, Truck races tomorrow night. Fox Sports 1 from Bristol. I'm going to pull up DraftKings for the odds. And I'll make my picks. So my pick to win the Pinty's Truck Race on Dirt in 2022. Let's go with Matt Crafton at 20-1. I think that's really valuable odds for a guy that I think is underappreciated in the Truck Series. So give me Matt Crafton at 20-1. And the Cup Series, Sunday at 7 o'clock from Bristol. So an Easter night race on Fox. My pick to win this race. I'm going to go with somebody that was a monster on this track way back in the day. And I think he's going to have a big throwback performance. He's 50-1, and his name is Kurt Busch. He used to rock this course. By the way, Kyle's 16-1. That's pretty good, too. But I'm going to go Kurt Busch at 50-1. Just for a classic throwback performance. You see this with Kurt Busch time in and time again. So I'm going to go with Kurt Busch at 50-1 to win the Food City Dirt Race from Bristol Motor Speedway. Alrighty, now I'm going to do my NHL Power Rankings. And I'm going to do what I did as the theme for the NBA one. where each team has to go for their season to be considered a success. And then who I think could be in play as their last season with the team. I'm going to do this very quickly. 32, the Arizona Coyotes, failure. And potential last season with the team, Jacob Chychrun. 31st, Montreal Canadiens, failure. Potential last season, Carey Price. Number 30, the Seattle Kraken, failure. Huge failure in their first year. I think that Jaden McCann could potentially be on the move. Number 29, the New Jersey Devils, failure. And I think that there's a possibility that Lindy Ruff is the fall guy. Number 28, the Philadelphia Flyers, huge failure. And I think a guy that could be potentially in his last season with the team, James Van Riemsdyk, I think he could be a trade candidate because they have a lot of offensive depth. Number 27, the Chicago Blackhawks, failure. We know it's Pat Foley's last season. We talked about that a little bit ago in the hockey segment. I think that there's a possibility this could be Patrick Kane's last season with the team. He's been in trade rumors a little bit here and there. If the Rangers don't go far, I could see them trying to make a big push for him. Islanders had a disappointing year. Maybe they go after him. Maybe I bet you it's one of those two teams. I know everybody says the next team I'm going to mention, number 25 or 26, the Buffalo Sabres. Their season's also a failure, and I think that Don Granato could be the fall guy. Number 25, the San Jose Sharks, failure. And I think that a potential trade candidate could be Logan Couture. Number 24, the Ottawa Senators, their season's a failure. They had a lot of guys that really didn't develop in a humongous way this year. I think the fall guy could be DJ Smith. The other wild card is that Pierre Maguire's in this front office now. We'll see if he has some sort of impact and say here. Number 23, the Detroit Red Wings. I'd say their season's a failure. I think they want to be better, have 90-plus points. And I think that Jeff Blashill could be the fall guy. All right, out of the bottom 10 now. Number 22, the Anaheim Ducks. I'd say their season's a failure, especially if they started so great. They've just absolutely collapsed. I think that Cam Fowler could be trade bait. Number 21, the Columbus Blue Jackets. I say their season's also a disappointment. I think that a guy that I could think could be on the move again could be Patrick Laine. Number 20, the New York Islanders. You can't convince me there was a more disappointing team than the New York Islanders this year. They were the preseason darling to go to the final. They're not even going to make the playoffs. They're mathematically still alive. But they had to go to the Cup final for me to have a successful season with back-to-back conference finals. They're not getting there. And I don't know if they're even going to be there next year either. I mean, there's a possibility they have a bounce-back year and they're in the playoffs next year in the top 3 in the Metro Division, but we overrated this team so bad before the year. And I think that it could be Semyon Varlamov's last year with the team. If this is Elos Sorokin's team, I'm sorry. They got to trade Semyon. Number 19, the Winnipeg Jets. They're mathematically still alive, but to me, they have to make the postseason, maybe even the second round for them to have a successful season. Back to the second round. And I think that somebody that could be traded this offseason is Paul Stastny because I feel like he's traded every year. Number 18, the Los Angeles Kings. I'd say just about success. They haven't clinched a spot in the postseason yet, but they're under a ton of pressure to win these games. But I really think that 90 points is a successful season for this team. And I think this could be Jonathan Quick's last year with the team. This reminds me of Henrik Lundqvist with the Rangers. When the team started to get good again, the goalie's in decline kind of a thing. They might look at the Henrik Lundqvist, how the Rangers took care of that, and how it was ugly with the Rangers, but I think this could be ugly Quick as well. So that's why I say Jonathan Quick. Number 17, the Nashville Predators. To me, they just have to make the postseason, considering that before the year, everyone had them in the lottery. That's why I say that. And I think that someone that could be dealt this summer could be Colton Sissons. Number 16, the Vancouver Canucks. To me, they have to make the postseason for it to be a successful year, especially after hiring Bruce Boudreau and getting themselves sort of back in the mix. I think that JT Miller could be in his last season with the team. They tried to trade him, or not tried to trade him, but he was in trade rumors a lot. This is the best year of his career, and his value isn't going to be any higher than this, so that's why I could see them moving on. Number 15, the Vegas Golden Knights. They have to make the Cup final for me. They were in the conference finals last year, and this is a win or bust team. And I think this is an obvious one for could be in the last season with the team. Evgeny Dadonov, they tried to trade him, didn't work out, so I think he's traded this summer. Number 14, Dallas Stars. To me, they have to make the postseason for them to be considered a success this year. Guy that I think could be in his last season with the team is John Klingberg. He's a free agent. And he's been with the Stars for a long time. So I don't think it's a guarantee he's back. Number 13, the Washington Capitals. To me, they have to make the conference finals for them to have a successful year. It's because of the presence of Alexander Ovechkin. But to me, the fall guy could be Peter Laviolette. I could see a world where they fire Peter Laviolette and they bring back somebody that used to be the coach of the Hershey Bears, who is now with the Toronto Maple Leafs as a power play coordinator, Spencer Carberry. I think that Carberry could be the coach of the Capitals next year. I kind of called it on the podcast last year. I did the future coaches, but that was before he got hired by the Maple Leafs. So we'll see about that one. Number 12, the Edmonton Oilers. To me, conference finals are bust. You have McDavid and Draisaitl. You should be able to go far. And I think that the fall guy could be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's been in trade rumors a ton throughout his career. They need a goalie. I think that Nugent-Hopkins would be a good piece to dangle. Say the Rangers lose early. They can offer them Alexander Georgiev for Nugent-Hopkins, and there will probably be more parameters in the deal. But I could see something like that happening. Number 11, the Pittsburgh Penguins, just out of the top 10. Somebody good had to be out of the top 10. A couple good teams had to be out of the top 10. And one of them is the Penguins, the other's the Oilers, another one's the Stars, the other's the Caps, and so forth. There's a lot of good teams this year. To me, the Pens have to go to the conference finals for them to have a good season in my mind. As long as Crosby's around, you have big aspirations for me. Evgeny Malkin's a free agent at the end of the year. I wouldn't be stunned if they move on. Number 10, the Boston Bruins. Same thing, conference finals. They have a good core set in place. Expectations are high in Boston. Similar situation they have facing Patrice Bergeron, who's also a free agent. Would not be shocked if he is not on the Bruins next year. Number 9, the Tampa Bay Lightning. To me, they have to go back to the final. If you're in back-to-back final, you got to keep those high expectations for the team. To me, someone that I think can be traded this summer is Anthony Cirelli. Number 8, the Calgary Flames. To me, they have to make the second round, considering expectations have been high for this team over the past couple of seasons. Just win a round. And I not be shocked if Johnny Gaudreau explores his options and leaves the Calgary Flames this year. Over 100 points for him this year in a contract year. Someone's going to go hard after him. Maybe it is the Rangers. Who knows? Number 7 is the Minnesota Wild. Semifinals. They got to win a round for me. They made the first round last year. Almost won. They didn't. I think Cam Talbot could be traded. They have a lot of goalies. Maybe they re-sign Marc-Andre Fleury. But I think Cam Talbot could be on the go if they re-sign Marc-Andre Fleury or something. And they also have Kaapo Kähkönen too. So they're deep there at the time being. Number 6, the St. Louis Blues. To me, they have to go to the conference finals. They were in the final a couple years ago. They have a lot of guys on their team, including the guy that I think could be in his last season with the team, considering that he requested a trade not that long ago, and that's Vladimir Tarasenko. Number 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs. To me, they have to make the conference finals as well. And I think a guy that I think could be on the move for them is John Tavares. Because they just have so much money on the books. And JT isn't having that great of a year by his standards. Number 4, the New York Rangers. I think their season's already a success. They clinched a playoff spot. If they made a big trade to help themselves potentially win a cup, then expectations would have changed for the Rangers. But to me, their season's a success regardless. Nobody thought they would have 100-plus points this season. And I kind of hinted at this one. Alexander Georgiev would not be shocked if he's in his last year with the team. Igor's the guy going forward, and I think Georgiev is somebody that could start. And maybe he could start on the Oilers. I just made a fake trade-up with Nugent Hopkins and Georgiev being the parameters of the deal. And you could do the same thing for even Nugent Hopkins for Cam Talbot. But I don't think they would want that because they already had him. Number 3, the Carolina Hurricanes. To me, they have to make the conference finals to have a successful season. Expectations are high in Carolina. They have some star power. Wouldn't be shocked if Tony DeAngelo's last season with the team. I think that there's a possibility that his warts are going to show up in the postseason, and I think they would be like, oh, yeah. And he has off-court or off-ice issues a lot, too. Number 2, the Florida Panthers. To me, they have to make the conference finals, considering that they're going to have the most points in the East in all likelihood. Expectations are high. They have a ton of great talented players, especially on the offensive side. And defensive side, too, but more on the offensive side. But I would not be shocked if Sergei Bobrovsky will be on another team next season. That's another potential Oilers goaltender, by the way. And then Florida gets Nugent Hopkins somehow. And number 1, the Colorado Avalanche. It's cup or bust for the Avs. They'll probably win the President's Trophy. They have a great core. Darcy Kemper's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. If they let him walk, maybe he's the next Oilers goalie. Maybe they sign him as a free agent and keep Brian Nugent Hopkins. That's probably what they should do. But then again, Nugent Hopkins or somebody's money's going to have to come off the books if they want to clear room for Kemper. So it's going to be really interesting this offseason. And maybe if they let Kemper walk, they're going to have to trade for somebody. Maybe they're the Georgiev team, for crying out loud. Who knows? Or Bobrovsky. So it's going to be a very interesting offseason in the NHL. Now I'm going to quickly talk about American Idol. We have the top 20 this weekend. I believe they're going to announce who got through in the beginning of the show. And I think that the talent is just tremendous. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a 3-hour episode. Yeah, the top 20 is revealed probably in the beginning of the show. And then they perform. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to predict the top 20 right now. So without further ado, here we go. So Sunday night was the first half of the top 24. And then the other half went Monday. So Jay performed I Want You Back by Jackson 5. I'm going to say Jay gets through. Ellie performed Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac. I think she goes through. Tristan performed With a Little Help from My Friends by Joe Cocker. He's going to go through. I think Scarlett's going to go through. She performed Levitating by Dua Lipa. Sage performed Jolene by Dolly Parton. She'll go through. Danielle performed Your Song by Elton John. I think she'll go through. Mike performed Best Shot by Jimmy Allen. I think that there's a possibility that he goes home. There's going to be good singers going home. I think that, unfortunately, he's one of them. Emerson, Angels Like You by Miley Cyrus. I think Emerson will survive. Dan performed Heaven by Bryan Adams. I think he'll survive. Jacob performed In My Blood by Shawn Mendes. He'll survive. Hunter performed Banjo by Rascal Flatts. I think he'll survive. And Nicolina, Elastic Heart, I think she'll survive. So I think only one person from Sunday night goes home, and that I unfortunately think will be Mike. I don't feel good about it, though. So, like I said, there's going to be some good contestants going home. This is sad. Cadence performed Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James. I think she'll go through. Sir Blake will go through. He performed Break Even by The Script. I think that Allegra will go through. She performed The Dory by Harry Styles. Kennedy's going through. I think she's going to win. I've been saying this from the beginning. I love Kennedy. Ever since her audition, she's been my favorite. She performed Human by Christina Perri. She's going through. I'd be stunned if she went home. Lady K performed The 48 Chiefs by Carrie Underwood. I think this is the end for Lady K. I like Lady K, but like I said, somebody good's got to go. And that's unfortunate. And that's going to be the case every week going forward. Ava performed Tell Me Something Good by Rufus and Shaka Khan. I think that there's a possibility that Ava goes home. But I'm going to say she survives. Noah performed Blue Side of the Moon by the Steel Drivers. I think that he's on the block. And I think that he's the other male contestant that goes home. Leah performed Call Me by Blondie. I think that Leah goes home. So it'll be her and Lady K for the girls. And then the guys, I'm going to say Noah and Mike go home. And then the rest, I think, will survive, which will be Cameron, Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Christopher from Leave the Door Open by Bruno Mars. And he'll definitely go through. I'd be surprised if Christian didn't go through. Katria performed Blame It on the Boogie by the Jacksons. She'll go through. And then Fritz performed Waits by Dion Lewis. And I think Fritz will go through. So we'll see how I do. So I'm going to say that unfortunately Mike will go home. Lady K, Leah, and Noah will go home. And then the rest will survive. We'll see how I go with that. All right, news and notes. I'm going to do rapid fire news and notes. And there's not that much anyway. Sad news, though. Islanders legend Mike Bossy passes away at the age of 65. Such a shame. Thoughts and prayers to his family and his friends and his former teammates. Ryan Hartman tweets that he's paying his own fine and sending all the money from fans to the Minnesota Children's Hospital, which is very nice. You love to see that. Stephon Gilmore signing with the Colts over the Rams. That's a big deal for Indy. 2 years, $23 million. That is awesome. Good signing by Indy. Cardinals haven't made an offer for Kyler yet, and his agent pulled the extension proposal off the table. The sale of Tom Brady's last touchdown ball that he sold for $518,000 was voided since he unretired. Tom Brady tweets at Elon Musk and has one request for him if he doesn't buy Twitter, which was something with the Combine video. And that was funny. Baylor freshman Jeremy Sochan, who won the 6th Man of the Year in the Big 12, and enters the draft as he forgoes his remaining eligibility. That'd be a big loss for Baylor off the bench, and we'll see where he goes. Great news. Dick Vitale says that Tuesday that his cancer is in remission. That is amazing news. Can't wait to see Dickie V back in the fall. The Lions met with Kenny Pickett, so that's interesting. the Cowboys met with quarterback E.J. Perry. He's probably going to be a day 3 pick. Jonathan India leaves the game yesterday with a right hamstring injury after running out an infield single. Greg Popovich could return for at least one more season amid questions about his future. I can't believe that this came out. Sania Rivers announces that she's going to enter the transfer portal after 1 year at the Gamecocks. That's insane. That is a big loss for South Carolina. We'll see where she ends up. We talked about Mackenzie Gore making his big league debut. Jared Allen will try to play against the Hawks tonight. We talked about Lucas sitting tomorrow against the Jazz. White Sox out on Frankie Montas as they're no longer negotiating. The ship has sailed, according to John Heyman. Pittsburgh extends Brian Reynolds through the 2025 season. That is great for Pittsburgh. Locked up an asset long term after he was in trade rumors. Sammy Watkins signs with the Packers 1 year $4 million. Good number 2 guy. They just need to get the guy to try to replicate Devontae Adams in a way. And one non-sports note, Gabby Petito's family lawsuit gets tentative jury trial date. So like I said, this is going to go on a while. Just a sad story, as we know. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. By the way, I'm sorry I didn't do Masked Singer tonight. I'll do that on the Monday show if I have time. If not, then we'll do it on the Tuesday show because it was a good episode. So I apologize for not getting to it. I'm gonna go with the over in the Clipper game tonight. I really think that's a no-brainer. So I'm going to lay a unit over 216.5 between the Pelicans and the Clippers for best bet. That's it for today's show. I'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend, looking ahead to today's games. So should be a fun weekend, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday, everyone.